This is the Wannabe Saints podcast, where we take virtues and try to break them down so they become tangible and applicable to your life.
We aren't here to bring you advice, we're here to bring you ed virtue. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Rachel.
We're your hosts, and this is Wannabe Saints.
All right, welcome to our first episode of Wannabe Saints. This is just our intro.
Yep, and we apologize for any weird background sound. We're sitting on the porch because we feel awkward in a studio and don't know how to record yet.
Yeah, we're way too awkward, so this is take number, I don't even know.
A lot.
Yeah, we're trying to be normal, so bear with us.
Yeah, we're not influencer style people who are used to talking on cameras or recordings ever.
We're super awkward. I already feel better sitting on a porch, but now just sorry to all of you if the sound in the background is annoying this time. We'll get better. We'll get there. Anyway, I'm Rachel.
I'm Jordan. Today's Rachel's birthday that we're recording on.
Except when you hear this, it's going to have been
a long time.
Long month or so prior. So it's July.
July 29th, to be exact. So
yeah, and you're probably going to hear
knows.
this in September.
Yep.
And if you don't hear this till October, that tells you how many more retakes we had to do. It's just not unlikely at all.
No.
We tried recording our first actual episode twice now, and it's not gone very
well.
So then we decided, because we're way too awkward, let's just try going to an environment that we're comfortable in. So here we are on Jordan's front porch on a rainy day.
Rainy Monday.
And you get to hear all the cars go by. You missed the church bells, so.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
It would have been cute. Anyway, yeah, I'm Rachel. I am the youngest of 6 kids. I have 26 nieces and nephews, something like that, around there. And I'm a teacher at a private Catholic school. I'm their campus minister and their gym teacher. And 11 of my nieces and nephews go there. And that pretty much sums me up.
Yeah, I am Jordan. I am a wife and a mom. I have a little boy. He's almost 11 months old, so I guess by the time this is out, he'll be just over a year probably. And I'm the youngest of 7. A lot of my nieces and nephews go to the school that Rachel teaches at. Yeah. I'm a hairstylist. That's what I do. That's what I do for a living.
Big part of your life.
Yeah. And my favorite color is white.
She's wearing a white shirt, and we're on her white porch in her white house.
Next to my white couch and my white curtains and my white dog. And my white coffee cup and my white microphone.
And when I asked her what her favorite color was when I first became friends with her, she told me gray and pink.
I was always told that picking white was lame, so I just picked other colors.
Rosary, and then I find out like 2 days later that her favorite color is white, and I was like, what was the point of that? So then I made her a white rosary. White and
really
gold.
Pretty.
White and
it's
gold.
So pretty.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, so we became friends. This is our love story, by the way, that we're sharing with you.
We became friends in Italy. So romantic.
Yeah. We only live 20 minutes from each other, and we flew across the world on a pilgrimage, and that's how we became best friends.
Yep. And I was super standoffish at first, but that's just because I'm a weirdo. And I was like on and off being nice, according to you.
Yeah. So
I wasn't intentionally being mean or standoffish.
No, she was not intentionally being mean. Okay, so Jordan doesn't remember the first time we actually met. Her sister-in-law always wanted us to be friends.
Because our sisters are friends.
Yeah, our older sisters are friends.
Their kids have gone to school together for a while.
Yeah, and so I knew of her in after Mass one day, which I was watching my sister's 6 kids while they were out of town. And she introduced us, and I was overwhelmed because I'm trying to manage all the little people who at the time were actually, I had like one of the youngest was a baby at that point.
Yeah.
Anyway, and she introduced us, but I was just immediately like, there's no way we're going to be friends. Like, she's a hairstylist, and just her style in general is like, yeah, being judgmental, because, you know, I'm a wannabe. I was like, there's no way we're going to have anything in common. I drive a truck. I am, you know, a tomboy, and she's just very girly. And I was like, there's no way. No way. That was that. I mean, obviously she thought the same thing. She doesn't even remember this day.
Nope.
Clearly she had the same situation. But anyways, so that's when we first met. Then we were going to Italy, and she texted me when we got to the airport.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I heard you're going on this trip. We should meet up. We met by the foreign exchange counter.
Yeah. I knew nobody going on this trip. And everybody was flying from different airports in the country to meet up in Italy. So it wasn't like our whole group was there. So Jordan and Kyle and our friend Fran were the only ones flying out of Chicago.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, these are my people.
Yep.
You know, and we hung out at the gate. Then on the flight, I wasn't sitting by them. And then we got there, and we talked for a little bit just because we had to wait for everybody to show up.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, she seems nice. Well, then the next morning, I go up to her after we actually got to Assisi, and I'm like, hey. And she's just not having it. Yeah.
Well, Kyle and I also went out for drinks that night that we got in.
And jet lag.
And then we slept in and almost missed the bus, the first thing.
That is true. The amount of times that you almost missed the bus on that trip.
It's just terrible.
You best not be doing that in Ireland.
No.
But yeah, so I was like, okay, this is weird. You were nice yesterday, and now you're just like not having it. Okay, I'll go find other people.
Yep.
So that whole day, I just like didn't interact with them.
Yeah. And then the next day we were going, was it the next day?
No, it was that night.
Okay, that night. Then we were going to a winery, and I saw Rachel there. I was like, hey, let's sit by each other for dinner.
She came up to me and was just like, how's it going? And like,
what's up?
Super bubbly. And I was like, well, that's new.
Yep. And then we were sitting down for dinner, and we were just getting so weird. We didn't even have wine at this point. Yeah, so hyper. And Rachel was just bringing the weird out of me. I don't even know what you were doing. And I was like, you're weird, and I don't like it. And she's just like, I've never been complimented for being weird.
Yeah. Yep. And then people that night were like, did you guys know each other before coming here? And we were like,
no.
Nope. and then after that, we just clicked. And then it's funny because that night happened, but then because we clicked so much, I became friends with Kyle.
Yeah, because I had another friend on the trip, too.
Yeah,
and
that was leading the trip, so she was with her a good amount.
A good amount, yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't know if I should say this or not, but I'm going to. It was the Catholic version of The Bachelor. There was 3 guys on this trip and all girls.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no. I mean, this is part of the story because everybody was telling me, oh, you're going to go meet your future husband when you go on this trip. And I actually went with the intention of making a friend. I moved home right before COVID. And
From
then,
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, thanks. And then right after that, COVID happened, and I was not friends with anyone from high school, and people moved away. And we weren't even living in the town that I grew up in at that point. And so I just had my siblings. And so then I just got in this place of, Lord, I love my family, and they're so good, but it's so different to just have a friend and have a best friend.
It really is.
And I had a falling out with my other best friend. And you always take intentions on a pilgrimage, and I didn't even expect it to happen there, but my intention was just, Lord, I want a friend. You need a friend to get through life. And every time people were like, oh, you're going to meet your husband, I'm like, I really don't care. If God has someone for me, he's going to bring them whenever he brings them. But a friend, I still need a friend to get through marriage, if that's what he calls me to. Right. You need a friend. And so,
honestly.
And so that was my intention. And so then we just clicked. And
I benefited from her asking for a friend because all of my friends moved out of state. Most of them, at least.
And at the time, too, she was already married to Kyle. And so it worked out well. It's such a God thing because Kyle and I also clicked.
Yeah.
And he just immediately felt like a brother. And he and I hung out a lot on the trip.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point that someone was
like, aren't you the wife? And she's like, no. Aren't you Jordan? No.
And then Kyle's like, this is weird. We didn't even ever act like that. It was just, I was walking and talking with him throughout stuff. And
right.
Yeah, just really funny. Anyway.
There was a couple nights where after dinner I went and hung out with my other friend, and then you and Kyle would just sit and hang out.
You were feeling sick one night.
Oh,
so Kyle
that's
came
right.
to dinner.
Yeah.
And so Kyle and I were just talking and hanging out.
Yeah.
And Jordan was sick in the room. And the whole group is there, but that's who I sat by at dinner. So
yeah.
Just so funny.
So funny.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of sums up how we became friends. And
yeah.
So,
yeah, and then we started working together because Rachel's just funny and did a karaoke night at my house one night. And so I work for my sister. My sister's my boss. And she was at this party where we had karaoke night. And she was like, I like your friend Rachel. She should probably just work at the salon as front desk.
Yeah.
And I told Rachel a few months prior, I was like, dude, you should just come work at the salon. She's like, nah, I'm
there's
good.
no way.
Again, Rachel was very tomboy, where she was like, I would never fit in at a salon. I was like, dude, you'd be great.
Well, here's the thing. There was one time I was working in my sister's yard, helping her with yard work, so I'm wearing these boots and beat up jeans and a t-shirt and a Bass Pro Shops hat. Not the trendy one. It was... Not the trendy one that you see people wear. Like that was camo type of deal. But it was white, okay? It was white.
It's cute.
White and pink, okay? So it sounds terrible because it is. But I was doing yard work. So then Jordan calls me and needed me to come pick her up. Mm-hmm. And I was like, for the love of everything, Lord, please do not make me step foot into that salon right now with what I'm wearing. I don't think I can handle walking in there right now.
Like, as bad as Jordan needs me, I cannot go in there.
I don't want to have to go in there, but I will if I have to. But please, for the love of everything, don't make me. And I didn't have to, and it was okay.
No, I was able to just run out.
Yeah, I mean, I've changed a lot.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We like to joke that I'm a real girl.
Yeah.
And I work there now.
Only for a little longer.
I know.
though.
I'm going to be full-time at the school this fall, so then I won't be at the salon anymore. I've been working 2 jobs for like 2 years now.
Yeah. I'm happy for you, but sad for me.
I know. It's bittersweet for me, too.
Yeah.
It's a good time there.
It is. But yeah, and then the school started because basically of 2020 and COVID being weird and bad decisions happening at the school that all of our nieces and nephews were going to. So then Rachel's sister was like, cool, let's start up a school. And then, a year later you started working there as the
They
virtue
had
teacher?
1 year without me. This is the 3rd year, going into the 3rd year of it being open. So they had 1 year without me, and I was a youth minister during that time, and I got burnt out real quick. And then I presented the idea to my sister of me working there, and it just worked out really well from there. So I'm their campus minister and their gym teacher now because it's such a small
You're
school.
also the virtue teacher, which is why we're doing this.
This is true. Yeah, so I teach, as the campus minister, they have me teach a class on virtue, which I didn't know that I would love so much.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Because everyone loves what she has to teach in the virtue class, which I've also helped her plan a lot of the lesson plans because she's basically making the curriculum.
Yes, I am making the curriculum, and I am the kind of person that needs to
say it out loud.
And make sure it's making sense.
Yeah.
And so Jordan is my go-to call. It just so happened this last school year that she was off on the morning that I would
prep.
That I would be
prep. She prepped that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm off when she prep.
Yeah. So I would just call her and just go through it, and she'd have great insights. And yeah, so then fast forward to a whole year of doing it, and I was reading this book called I Believe in Love.
Oh, the best.
Best book.
Best
Highly
book.
recommend. I don't know who it's by, but
me either.
Just
type in
I Believe in Love, and Saint Therese is on the cover, and that's how you know you found the one.
Here, I'll find who it's written
Okay,
by.
you do that, and I'll keep talking. I was reading this book, and I was at adoration one night, and the part in the book was just saying, no saint did anything great with lack of desire and lack of passion. And I just kind of sat with that. Okay, Lord, I could still do so much for you. What?
It's by...
You can't even say it.
Father Jean C.J. Delibé.
Could you just spell it for people?
Okay, Father Jean C.J. D''E''L''B E with a little asterisk above it and another E.
Good job. Okay, that's who it's by. So look it up and buy it, and you won't regret it. Literally, I haven't read it. Yeah, it is. I haven't read it straight through, but I only have a couple chapters or whatever left.
Yeah.
But either way, sometimes I'll just do a Come Holy Spirit and open it up, and it's always so perfect, which is what I did that night at adoration. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't actually really know where I left off right now. I'm just gonna open it. So that's what I did, and that's when I read the whole thing on, no saint did anything great with lack of passion and desire. And so I was just kind of sitting there, and I was like, Lord, I could do so much. Like, I love my job at the school, but I'm single, and I have so much time to give. What is it that you want? I could do something more. And I love virtue class. I mean, with students, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other sometimes, but that's, understandable.
That's middle schoolers.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yep.
And so then the idea just came to me, start a podcast. And I was like, yeah, that's crazy. So I ignored it, and then I went back the next day, and it just immediately came to my mind when I sat down. And I was like, that's so crazy. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to talk to myself. That's weird. And I don't even know how I would do that. So I went home, and I was talking to my mom. It was 8 o'clock at night. And she was like, that's genius. Ask Jordan to do it with you. And I was like, she's going to tell me no.
Which also, I had been asked to start a podcast years ago with a different friend. And I was I don't want to hear my voice on recording. No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
I am not a podcaster. I didn't even listen to podcasts. What is that, 6 years ago or something? 7 years ago?
Yeah.
No.
And I knew that. And so I was just like, there's no way she's saying yeah. Then she happens to call me. If she calls me at nighttime when I know she's with Kyle and her baby, it's okay. Do you need me? What's going on? So
Why was I calling you?
I don't really know.
Don't
because
even know.
It got completely derailed because you answered the phone, or I answered the phone, and I was like, speak of the devil. And you're like, why are you talking about me? And I was like, my mom told me I should ask you to do a podcast with me.
And I was like,
and
cool.
Yeah. And I didn't even tell her the idea. She just immediately, yes. And I was like,
but I think you and I have also joked about doing podcasts because we just have funny and good conversations so often.
Yeah, that's true. And so then she said yeah, and that threw me off, and that kind of derailed it. But I didn't even tell her the idea. So then we were at the salon, and I don't know how to curl my hair, so she's always curling my hair for me. So I'm sitting in her chair at the salon before I start my shift, and I'm looking at her in the mirror, and I had a smile on my face. She's like, what? Do you want to know the idea? She's like, yeah. So I told her a podcast on virtue, and her reaction, again, threw me so much because I was not expecting the amount of joy and excitement to come out of her over this. Because she was like, dude, that's genius!
Yes, we should! And you're like, do you really want to commit to doing a podcast? I mean, why not? Let's just do it.
Yeah, and she kind of did a little happy jump, and I was very confused. All of that was just throwing me for a loop, because it's not what I expected. Honestly, my thought was, she's going to say no, and then that's the end. I'm not doing this, because there's no one else that I could pick to do this with.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah.
And
well, then we were trying to figure out what the names would be.
Yeah.
And I was like, how funny would it be if we're Saint Wannabes? We're totally like wannabes. And when you think of like a wannabe, it's you're not in that group, but you want to be there. And so it's, Saint Wannabes. But we're like, that sounds so weird. Yeah. And then Rachel's just dyslexic. Legit. She is.
Yeah.
And she was having a shower thought and was like, Wannabe Saints. Wannabe Saints. Why is that weird? And she's like, I'm saying it backwards. It's amazing. Wannabe Saints. It's great. Because we had a couple other ideas of names.
Virtue Chronicles and stuff like that. Some people were giving us ideas.
Well, I think another one was Saints in Progress or something like that. But we're like, no, that's too definitive. We're not there yet.
In Virtue Chronicles, we're too
goofy for Chronicles.
That's too sophisticated for us.
Yeah.
We're dumb.
We're just some white girls.
White girls. We're just dumb as we're blondes.
Yeah.
We're really selling you on why you should listen to this. Hey, you want to listen to a podcast on virtue? We're just some dumb blondes trying to figure it out too. But you should probably listen.
Just a couple wannabes.
Yeah,
you know?
but you should probably listen to us.
Yeah.
So if that didn't sell you, then let us try a little harder. Oh gosh.
Yeah. And then when I was trying to help come up with names for it, this is where I came up with our silly little slogan. We're not here to bring you advice. We're here to bring you advirtue. Because, what's the word, like the acronym or the
ad?
The ad is, it's not an acronym. It's a prefix. The ad means to bring to or to bring towards. So ad, we're not just here to give you advice. We're trying to bring you towards virtue. We're trying to give you the information that we're already collecting and just bringing it to you. We're just delivering it. So we're trying to bring you towards virtue. Yeah. So that's where that little slogan came from.
Yeah, it's great.
Because my brain is just silly and I just always come up with weird things like that.
Yep. No, but I love it. And it's true. That's what we're trying to do. Everything that we say in our podcasts, we're trying to figure it out too. I mean,
there's also no real podcasts that try to actually break down virtue and how they lead into each other because it's such a spider web.
It is such a spider web. And wow, I just totally lost my train of thought. It was something about...
Get your brain back.
I know. St. Anthony, help me find my memory. It was something about... Shoot, what did you just say? It's a web... Oh, breaking it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, with teaching the class, I I've learned it's actually a lot of work to try put together a curriculum and break down to the students what the virtue is, because I'm pulling from so many resources. Why not put this out there for people? We're doing all the footwork. Why not then just give that to people? Because this is stuff everybody should know and that people should talk about. So sometimes when we have these conversations, it's not factual. We'll give you the definition and break that down, but the way that our conversations work kind of are,
we're trying to figure it out ourselves.
Make it applicable though.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not all factual. We
Right.
we do give you the fact of the definition and stuff, but then we talk about what does that actually look like. So it's going through scenarios. So it's not all just like facts.
Right.
So it's us trying to figure it out in our life and give that to you guys. And we don't even really know how all of this is gonna go. Our idea is probably just having a conversation about it, and sometimes you're probably going to want to try to yell at the person talking. It's this, remember this, or you said that wrong. But for us, our problem so far has been because I've taught it, it's too teacher-like.
Yeah.
And so we're going to try to have conversations that you're listening to, like our real life.
Us figuring it out
like,
and
figuring
breaking it
it
down
out.
while we're hanging out.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of our game plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
We kind of want to do a mini examination over that virtue at the end of each episode.
Yep.
Obviously, we're going to have some preparation done, but it's also, you're going to be getting to hear the conversation
of us
about
trying
that
to, like,
virtue.
figure out the virtue.
Because I think that's helpful for people too, though.
Yeah.
Because it's then we're asking questions and trying to get to the answer that they might actually have too.
Right.
Which then eventually the hope is that we could post a topic on our Instagram and people can write in questions too.
Yeah.
So it's, hey, this is what we're going to be talking about. Then we can come prepared answering your questions even.
Mm-hmm.
I just talked a lot right there. Sorry.
You're fine. Yeah. And then also we'll have Kyle on here and there too.
He'll be one of our frequent guests.
Yeah. Frequent guests. And then we have a few of our priest friends that we have lined up to come on the show at some point.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's our show. That's why you should listen to us, not just because we're two dumb blonde girls trying to figure it out, but because we're doing all the work and it's not easy to find. So we hope that this benefits anyone who listens to it.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that's Wannabe Saints.
Yeah. Wannabe Saints. Here we are.
Yeah, and we hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
That's it.
Peace.
Peace. I think, I'm just going to keep recording this.
Okay.
We did a good job for once.
I agree. The porch is great.
The porch is great. For all of you haters on the background noise, sorry not sorry, because
this is the best we've
this
done.
is the best we've sounded, and you're like, that's the best.
That's the best.
But you know what?
Trying.
You didn't hear the first ones, and that tells you how bad they were.
Exactly.
Oh, you know what we forgot? We can just do it in the first episode.
Thanks for listening to the Wannabe Saints podcast.
If you have a question or topic you would like us to cover, reach out to us at wannabesaintspodcast@gmail.com or on Instagram at wannabe_saints.
Thanks for listening, and God bless.